I'm Wayne Struby.
And we're Therapy Nexus, and we are interviewing Trisha Stavinoha.
All right. Well, Trisha and I and Hillary work together at the Center for the Intrepid in San Antonio at Fort Sam. And Trisha is going to be a huge wealth of knowledge for us. She has a dietitian. What is it? A doctorate, master's?
Yeah. I'm a registered dietitian.
There you go. It's like I have a doctorate in physical therapy, so you know what I mean. So it's just kind of weird saying that, but we can always go back over that if we need to. So, and then she's a phenomenal athlete. She runs really fast and swims really fast and bicycles a little faster than others. And then also she does stuff with Cera Sport, and it's pretty cool stuff that she does. And so we're just going to use her for a whole lot of interviews. So, not use, I guess, that bad word.
I like to be used.
All right. So we'll let her introduce herself, other than the terrible job I just did. But we'll let her introduce herself so that we can get started with this awesome interview. We're going to be covering a whole lot of stuff.
Yes. So I am a board certified strength and conditioning coach, sports dietitian. I have my master's in sports dietetics. And then I did this, and I just recently became a Surge Strength dry land strength coach, which is Surge Strength. So it's for swimming, which I'll get to. Okay. So I was in the military for 20 years.
You don't swim on land, though.
No, but like what you do on land impacts what you like. If you can't control yourself on land, then you're wobbly in the water.
Kind of like what Sheldon, he learned how to swim by watching YouTube videos on the floor. Remember that?
Is that Office? Max?
Yeah.
Office? The Office?
No, it's what is it?
Oh wait, no.
Big Bang,
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I didn't watch that. Although I did watch Blossom, which that was the Brainiac.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
I used to watch that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So more about me. And so I spent most of my time in the military, working in the performance and rehabilitation setting. That's where I met Wayne and Hillary doing nutrition rehab at the CFI, which will prove to be beneficial to me now. So then I retired from the military, and I decided that teaching people to swim would be easier than teaching them how to eat. Totally true. So I became a lifeguard and swim coach. So now I work at Lifetime Athletics, and I am the adult swim coach. Not like I'm the adult but I do all the swim coaching for the adults. They don't let me around children for some reason.
Probably that
incident.
Order,
Yeah.
Not true.
But I still do sports nutrition. So I do FODMAP education. So people that have
what that is.
Fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. So they're carbohydrates in your diet that ferment in your colon and cause gas, bloating, diarrhea, and constipation.
Is that what I have?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I do a little of that. I still do some sports nutrition education on the side. But most of my job involves wearing a swimsuit, which is not a bad gig.
You get to flex all day.
I do. So I do that. Let's see what else. So kind of life coming full circle. So Wayne was correct. I was a bit of a stud in my prime. I ran cross country for the Army. I did all Army triathlon. I did baton march a bunch of times. I was a super fast runner, and I continued to train when I retired. And then on 14 May 2021, I tore my ACL.
Of course you did.
And so, that was hard because my best sport was running. I mean, I'm a better coach than I am a swimmer. I mean, I work really hard to swim as slow as I do, but I know I really enjoy coaching adults. So that's been super rewarding, and I like the dry land focus. But so my next race, I guess, is recovering from a torn ACL. So I tore it on 14 May. And so by utilizing the knowledge that I have with rehab nutrition and sports nutrition, and strength and conditioning and swimming, so far I have not had to have surgery. I am not anti-surgery. That's like, I'm not anti-vax, right? I'm, whatever.
That's fine.
No, but I think that there's a certain treatment for everyone. Right now, I would like to see how far I can go without having surgery. So this morning, I ran 7 miles at a pretty decent pace. Now my knee was like tired at the end, but it wasn't hurting, right?
Excellent.
So my focus now is to recover from this injury, try to avoid having surgery, and continue to live a long, happy life in a swimsuit.
Sounds great. I mean, it's a great retirement plan.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's
yeah. So I think that's great. You know, and it's individualized for surgery, not surgery, depending on what your goals are and kind of what you do. So.
Oh, and then I also forgot to add. Sorry. I also consult for Cera Products. So Cera Sport is a hydration company. They use rice instead of sugar. Amazing concept. And so I do use my nutrition brain to consult for them, and then I also teach sports nutrition at Baylor in the summer. Okay, but that's all I do.
But you said you did you didn't want to teach people how to eat. You'd rather teach them how to swim. Well, that's one thing. It's like working out's kind of like that, but swimming, people are crazy about their swimming, especially triathletes are pretty crazy about their swimming, right? So that's what I'm gonna say. Eating is a little religion, right? Yes. Diets. That's what's so tough about being a dietitian, right? It's just people are like set in their ways, and it's hard to tell them what to do, right?
It's like ABC Church.
Okay.
Where you go to, I forgot what that stands for, but you go to church on like Christmas. Oh, that's ABC. Oh, anniversary, birthday, Christmas. Oh, that's more like a marriage. Okay. So it's basically like people that.
Holiday church, yeah.
It's people that go to church on Easter, Christmas, and I guess those are the only 2 church holidays.
That's when you're supposed to go. Right?
Yeah. And so like for a lot of people, a lot of triathletes, they're the same way. Like, okay, I'm going to start thinking about my food, 6 months or 4 months or a month out from my race. Military is kind of the same thing. They start thinking about food like PT test time.
Or they start starving themselves.
Yeah. Or like, I need to start, dialing in.
Yeah.
That's the buzz. Anyways.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm not that way either.
But with recovery, like, so if I only thought about nutrition only on race day, I would have had a hell of a time with my knee.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like,
recovery is so important.
Like, if you have a diet based on beer and sugar, you're not going to recover very well from ACL tear.
Yeah. Beer and sugar is fun.
As you were.
It'll hit you up. All right, now, Hillary had a question.
So I want to know how you tore your ACL, what you were doing, and then kind of how did you know or what was going through your head when it happened?
Legal, what you were doing.
That was a bad day. So it all started in January when I ran into a fire hydrant. I know they're big and that but it just came out.
January,
so
I
ran into a fire hydrant and it was fine. I was bleeding a lot and it was kind of sore. And then maybe a month later, I felt my knee kind of pop on a run, but I was still able to run.
Was it trail running or?
It was on the road. It was on a paved trail. And so, I did have an MRI and it did not show an ACL tear. It showed basically maybe a contusion, and that I had 45-year-old knees. I'm 45, by the way. And so the doctor didn't really give me any good guidance. I didn't see a surgeon. I think I saw an orthopedic PA, and they just said, stop running. And I did see a physical therapist a little bit. It was a virtual physical therapy appointment, which is like a virtual pap smear. It's not very effective. So
not with physical therapy.
Huh?
Not with physical therapy.
No. So
it's tough.
I didn't start really effectively taking care of my knee. And so when I felt like it was better, I was running more. So then finally the VA, they approved my application for a community care PT. So that way I could actually go see someone in person.
Yeah.
And so while I was waiting for that, so I was still continuing to run gradually. My hamstring was bothering me. I was just kind of a hot mess. And then 14 May, the date of my first physical therapy appointment. So so that morning, I was going to earn my appointment, right? So that morning I went to the park and I did a little mountain biking and I did a little trail running. Nothing significant. It was just easy, nice, enjoying nature kind of activity. And so then I went to this other little park afterwards and I was stepping up on a stump, like doing some single leg step ups. And I must have stepped at the wrong angle. I probably did not have good proprioception. And my knee just buckled and completely gave way.
Oof.
And so I kind of laid on the ground for a little bit. And it hurt, but not in like a excruciating pain way. Like when you think tear my ACL, you think, oh my God, it was like it was like my knee buckled and it's not working. And so I got up and started to walk and I was like, yeah, this is not working out very well. And then, so I was driving away and I had my PT appointment. And then my car, I hit a pothole. I got a flat tire. I had to wait for 2 hours for the car people to come and fix my car. And then I was almost going to be late for my very first PT appointment. So then I made it to my PT appointment.
You're such a good patient.
Well, and my father, God bless him, I tell you what, he came and made sure that I got to my PT appointment. So I definitely, I appreciate dads out there.
Thanks, Dad.
You're important. So then I got to my PT appointment and I just started bawling, and I didn't have another MRI till maybe like a month later. And then sure enough, that MRI concluded that it was a torn ACL. So I'm a little hard-headed. So after I think the next day after I had that injury, I probably swam, right?
Ooh.
And it was fine. I mean,
so that was after your injury, you swam?
Like the day after.
And you didn't feel...
Are you supposed to do a whip kick after you have an ACL tear?
Well, I wasn't doing breaststroke. I was doing freestyle. That's breaststroke. So I wasn't...
What I'm talking about, like
just
your
that.
foot like
That's
this.
a
open
flutter
chain.
kick. Yeah.
Sure, you don't do that?
Well, it doesn't really matter because I did it anyways. And so, yeah, I don't know if it helped or hurt. Well, I wouldn't say it hurt because here I am. But so I was, I probably took from that day, like, it was a struggle. I probably didn't run at all for a month. I would try to run and my knee would just buckle. Oof. And like try to run like a couple of steps. I was not like, putting on all the gear, got the sweatband on. I'm ready to run. It was more like,
let's
see how my body
my fuel
up.
belt on. And I was able to bike, no issue. But I didn't know that I tore it. But now I know that, yep, that was the day that I tore my ACL. So it'll be ever etched in my memory.
Well, that's a hell of a job. I mean, yeah, that contusion, it could have been turning off the muscle. You had a little muscle imbalance.
Yeah.
And then you just...
That's why I brought that up, because I think that my knee was already, I wish, I don't wish anything, but I think that kind of precipitated the weakness in my knee. Yep. And then just stepping up on that stump at the wrong angle, just my knee was like, I'm done.
It's hard to hold that balance if you don't have the strength, the proper strength at the time.
And I didn't do very much strength and conditioning up until that point, so my life has forever changed because of that.
So you were doing a lot of strength and conditioning before you retired?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
No, she first time she ever met me. I told her
so just more
CrossFit.
running.
Like, oh, you're one of those CrossFit guys. Because you said you were at a gym trying to do some front squats, and the guy's like, oh, so you CrossFit? You're like, oh no, I do triathlons. You're like, oh, you're not a real athlete. Remember that?
Oh, that was in Korea. Yeah, he was like, do you do CrossFit? I was like, no, I just lift weights.
He said you're not a real athlete. Yeah, that's funny.
Or he just kind of looked at me like I don't know. Only CrossFit people can lift a bar. It was kettlebells reserved for CrossFit. Nothing against CrossFit. Either way, I lifted, but I did not lift. It wasn't targeted lifting.
Yeah.
And my glutes were not firing like they should, which you had.
Right. Yeah. So before you retired, you were still doing your triathlons and your marathons, and you were still training in that sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I was not, and I was also getting older. It's true. And so
every year we get older.
I think this is so important for people to appreciate, is that if you are a young athlete and you continue to do the cardio endurance stuff, and you get older and you don't match it with really smart strength and conditioning, you are setting yourself up for injury. It needs to be balanced. You'll need to pull back the endurance and then pull up the strength and conditioning, because you're gonna lose muscle as you get older. Like, it's just like death and taxes.
or prison, whichever one you want.
Yeah.
Go to prison if you don't pay your taxes. right.
So I guess what I was trying to get to was, did anything change from when you retired to like having your new lifestyle, you know, being a lifeguard and coaching instead of what you were doing in the military?
Probably more active.
Because you had the time.
Yeah. And just a different lifestyle, but I mean, not more relaxed, I think. I was traveling more at that time with one of my other jobs, but I think the main thing that occurred was just, especially when I retired, I mean, I was going nonstop. And so when I retired from the military, like I was getting up at 4 a.m. to train and then do my real job. And then, you know, so it was probably like just, you know, inevitable maybe. Yeah.
So what made you not decide to have surgery?
Well, initially I would have been more open to surgery had the surgery been open to me, but because there were so many restrictions right now with getting access to a surgeon. And then, so by the time, you know, I saw one person that I didn't really feel comfortable with that individual. So I wanted to get a second opinion.
Why is that?
He didn't listen to me. And he was more on the lines of, don't have surgery. Here, put on this clunky brace. Have a good day. And
that was a surgeon told you that?
Yeah. And he just didn't like, he wouldn't give me all the options. And I really didn't know what I was going into when I met with him because I hadn't seen my physical therapist yet. And so, between, I saw that surgeon, then started seeing physical therapy, then got the other MRI that confirmed what I already knew, and then saw a different surgeon. By that time I had gotten educated and started to feel better and started reading, you know, there are a lot of reports about, you know, recovering from a torn ACL without surgery. And I am a unicorn. So if anyone is going to recover from a torn ACL without surgery, it's going to be me. And I wanted to at least give it that chance. Once you get cut, there's no turning back.
Right.
And so I can always later go have surgery if I feel like I'm not recovering at the rate that is satisfactory. But I think one thing that I didn't know, and I'm glad I know now, and I'm glad that I waited, is if you tear your ACL, I think it's important to have at least like 6 months of good targeted rehab. One, if you're going to have surgery, you want to build up the muscles that are supporting the ACL that they may take a graft from. Prehab. Yeah. And then also, even if they take a graft from, you know, a dead cow, you still want to build up those. I don't think they take it from a cow, but you still want to build up those muscles, because once you have surgery, they will immediately atrophy. Yeah. So you want to start a little bit ahead of the game. So regardless, I think it's important to have at least a good 6 months of rehab, which I didn't realize. The surgeon, but neither of them really explained that to me, because they were just trying to get me, I don't know, in and out of the clinic faster. I wasn't and that's why I think it's so important to have a good physical therapist, because they can discuss, you know, it's amazing how the person that can cause the most damage you spend the least amount of time with.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But the therapist wise, how do you know it's a good therapist?
You know, I guess, well, like the virtual one, I'm sure that individual was a good therapist, but I couldn't really tell because I was only meeting with them virtually.
It's all about the rapport, is what we were talking about. You know, you get a rapport and you start understanding who they are. You can always fire your therapist. You can always fire your surgeon. People don't seem to realize that sometimes.
And this particular person, I felt that I really lucked out because he listens to me. Mm-hmm. And so before every appointment, he'll sit down and ask, you know, how my week of training has gone. If I have questions, he doesn't just blow them off. You know, he takes them seriously. And that's what, like, so before I went and saw the second surgeon, he helped me come up with a list of questions.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't have to try to drown that out later. Put that real loud click on there so I can see where I need to cut.
So good physical therapist. He helped me come up with some questions to ask the surgeon that I didn't even think about, like what type of graft, and then is it a reconstruction or a repair? What's your recovery? How many surgeries do you typically have? So he helped me come up with some of those questions.
Oh, good.
So it was more like a relationship.
So a physical therapist helps you find a good surgeon.
Well, he helped me assess the quality of the surgeon.
That's great. So I love that. So who's this guy's name? I want to interview him.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me.
Okay.
I just put it on the camera. Tell me later.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe he'll do an interview with us.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good one.
No, I think he would. Yeah, actually, definitely.
Because that sounds really cool. So Hillary, I know you missed that, but she said her PT sat with her and told her the questions to ask the surgeon, like ask him this, ask him that, so she could kind of make sure it's the surgeon she wants to go see.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Super awesome.
Because especially in my, I can't really shop around. I go with what the either TRICARE or the VA gives me, and so when you go community, you can shop around a little bit, but once you finally get that, that consult approved, it takes so long, you just pray to God that you have a good one. And this particular physical therapy, they have a few centers, so if I really didn't like this person, I could go someplace else. Okay. But I do like this person. That's so good. Yeah, and
they're like I've said that they're not all made the same. I say that every time. And you could have alphabet soup behind your name, like all these other, you could be certified and everything and still suck at what you do. You may not suck at what you do just because you don't have time, because you got so much paperwork, you're seeing so many patients, or you just, all you care about is getting certifications. Sometimes I know both of us work with an awesome physical therapist, and he has a master's. He doesn't have anything behind his name, but he's done more research than any other physical therapist I've known. He's awesome, and he's very, very smart. Just seeing him treat patients, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it comes down to is, like you said, that just you work with them, get to know them, see if you like them, and fire your physical therapist if you don't like them, if you don't trust them. That's what you got to do.
Same surgeon and any sort of healthcare professional.
You can fire them. I mean, and you don't have to have any reason. Like, I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's see, Hillary. Did you get all your questions asked?
Not yet. Okay. So you said you're having PT currently. Have you been having PT since you found out you had your torn ACL?
Yeah. So the day I tore my ACL was ironically my first physical therapy appointment, right. and that was in 14 May, and then I've been seeing physical therapy pretty consistently once or twice a week since then. So there was about 2 months where I didn't see someone. And that was because the VA was dragging their feet.
9 months. 9 months.
But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And right now I just go once a week, and because I'm a good student, and so I do my homework in between. So I really just go to him to kind of assess progress, because my left knee needs to be within 90% of my right knee to be considered.
Yep. That's kind of what the research says. Yeah. All those little tests we do on everybody.
Yeah.
So where are you at with that?
When I went, I was at 85%, I want to say, on my little hockey hop test.
Yeah, that's a tough test, man.
Yeah.
On good legs, it's a tough test. So
that, and then,
who's that?
That's me, but I'm just.
Oh, it's you, okay.
Yeah.
Remind me to cut that out. All right. So what were you going to ask, Hillary?
I just want to know the training that you're doing to maintain the strength in your knee and your hips and your core, so that you are still in that same pathway of no surgery.
Okay, so it has been a gradual progression throughout pretty much the whole time. Seated leg press, although it started with double leg, and now I've progressed to single leg. Hamstring curls using the machine.
Okay.
And we've just progressed the weight on that. Different balance exercises, and I didn't really understand the importance of it until I started to run more. And
very important, yeah.
Realizing how I place my foot. So the balance, I'm either on a Bosu ball, and balancing on one leg, and that is, I have a love-hate relationship with those exercises, but still,
challenges.
Yeah. That's helpful. And then recently we've started to progress to more hopping. So that has been probably within the last month, maybe 2 months of hopping on both legs, you know, the bounding, and really making sure that, like you guys showed in your video, to use those shock absorbers and to land straight and watch my knee being over my toe. And then I've recently added single leg hop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of band exercises. So the monster walk or the crab walk, I've been doing those since the beginning. I usually do those every day. And if my knee is a little tweaky, I'll just do a little monster crab walk, little crab will cure you.
Well, man, it gets those glutes firing, right?
And I think that's a big thing is the glutes and the core.
So I do like on my side, and I lift my leg up to the side, and then there's this one, it looks really weird, but you like lay on your back and you put your feet together and you like thrust your crotch up in the air. Definitely not one you want to do in a swimsuit at lifetime.
Like bridges?
Yeah, but like you're laying on
your feet are together and your knees are out.
Your feet are together and your knees are out, and you're basically lifting your hips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't look very...
Kind of like that yes-no machine in the gym.
Yeah, but it's your own yes, no. But I tell you, it's a good exercise.
Sounds good.
And then what are the tugboat where you like throw your legs are here and you have the band.
Oh yeah, I love tugboats. Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to do that to everybody. While you're kind of standing on that midfoot with your knee bent just a little bit. And
that's and balance, so there's a little bit more proprioception with that.
Well, and proprioception is great. Like,
what is
that's
proprioception?
Just knowing where your body is in space.
There you go.
Right. So it's all the little receptors in your joints telling your brain where you are.
So, and just to, so I have, and my right foot is deformed. So my right foot, I have hammer toe. I won't be a foot model unless it's for a hammer toe company. And just Google Steven Tyler's feet, and that's what my feet look like. Minus the blue nail
Just the right one.
Yeah. So my big toe is useless. So it explains why my left knee was
the compensation that you probably did throughout your whole life.
But I tell you, I'm good at sucking up. So lots of cycling, and I found if my knee is hurting, cycling helps. So that's been another. But there's been some step backs, like when I was trying to do the single leg drops, single leg box drops. I had not developed good proprioception at that time, didn't land right, and so that was a little bit of a step back. When I was starting to run more, I would tweak it a little bit and have to take a little bit of time off. Again, I have found that with running, I really have to warm up and do something like high knees to get my foot placement correct. And if I feel like, excuse me.
We have people fixing the roof is what's going on.
If I feel like my knee is a little bit not set right, and just do some high knees to sort of put it back in place and then chart on.
So do you ever do any of your hip strengthening, core strengthening before you run?
No. Not normally, no.
Okay.
Not and I not that usually I do like the monster walk after. If it and maybe doing it before might be a better way.
It'd be good because it kind of tells your body like, oh, these are the muscles that need to be kicking in while I'm running. Yeah.
That it's always just a little key.
And just like little things like those single leg squats, just like something to kind of get everything.
You've seen our program when we were doing the return to run. We'd sit there and do some of the stationary lunges. Just kind of sitting there just to get that firing, and the band walks just get those glutes firing before you run. That way you got them rolling.
Well, like I went to the track on Sunday and I was doing some repeats, and in between each repeat I would do some lunges and some single leg layouts. Good. And that helped sort of reset my knee between each interval.
Exactly. So it'd probably be good to do it.
Yeah, before.
And you don't have to spend a lot of time.
No, just get a couple minutes in there.
I take my dog for a walk before I run.
Well, you need to
I'll put a band on.
Put the TheraBand between both of your knees and monster walk with the dog.
Yeah.
She's slow, so it'll slow me down.
You got plenty of time.
Yeah. She's a little old lady.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that was the next question I was going to ask. Like, how do you know you've done too much? Do you feel it like instability? Do you feel like your knee swells? What are the signs that you know that you've overdone it?
For me, I know. And I recognize when it starts to feel a little bit unstable. And also, which has been a difficult one for me, gradually increasing my mileage, because one thing I learned through a course that I'm taking is that muscles develop faster than tendons. And so your muscles could be developing, but your tendons are still weak. And so like I may be able to squat or to do the leg press a certain amount, but those tendons may still be weak. And with the leg press machine or the hamstring machine, you have the stability of the machine. But when you go into the open market and you don't have the stability of a machine, it's those tendons that are protecting you. And so I am definitely guilty of perhaps, taking it a little bit too far. I think that I've done a good job at scaling back, though, when I'm like, okay, that's enough. Like I know for right now, like 7 miles is my limit. I've worked my way up to that. But I can't get excited and say, I'm going to do 8 next week. No, we're just going to be happy at 7 for a while. And then, but I can feel it in my knee, when it's starting to be unstable. And so that's when like, I'll do some, like the high knees to reset it or just take a break.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Best answer yet.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to go through, some questions that you recommended we ask, and so we can really hit some high points of your whole
who you are
use of B.
Yeah.
Okay. Like nutrition questions.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll
let's see. So one of them was like, what supplements do you recommend for people recovering from an injury?
So the reason that I wanted to ask this question, because I see a lot of people get excited about collagen.
Yeah.
Which I am excited about collagen.
I think collagen's great. Yeah.
But there are pills, like gelatin pills, and you literally have to take like 30 of them to get the recommended dose. So the way that you take collagen hydrolysate is generally it's a powdered form, and you're taking about 15 grams of collagen protein. Okay.
A little more than milligrams.
Yes, 15 grams.
Okay.
So you can't get that from Jell-O. You would be eating like 6 cups of Jell-O. So like I've seen a lot of people like give Jell-O to sports teams, thinking that would be a helpful, and it's not. It's like Jell shots. Maybe if it had a little vodka, it'd be helpful, but. Either way, so the powdered, and there's a lot of different, there's a lot of powdered collagen. I take Great Lakes powdered collagen.
Yeah, we throw some in our coffee every once in a while, but we don't, other than that, we drink a lot of bone broth.
Bone broth can be contaminated with lead, so you have to be careful.
We make our own bone broth out of grass-fed chickens from behind the Oaks Farm.
And that's if you don't need a controlled dose, like that's probably
we don't
fine.
Need controlled stuff, so yeah.
But the prescription for collagen is 15 grams of collagen 1 hour prior to a connective tissue health session.
Well, that's pretty cool. I didn't know where's this research from?
Oh, Keith Barr, I believe.
Keith Barr.
B Barr with 2 A's. Barr. And this research came out, goodness, maybe like 2014, 15.
Okay.
And I've just kind of kept it in the back of my head, and then who knew I need to use it. The other thing that goes
with a dietitian, so that's something you should be recommending if you know that helps heal. Because recovery is what we're all about too.
Yes.
Besides prevention, but recovery.
So then you ask, well, why collagen? So it is resorbable. So these tendons are made of collagen. And so the theory is by taking the collagen an hour before a connective tissue health session, that health session is what stimulates hormones to help you absorb that collagen, which you will not do if you don't have adequate vitamin C in your diet. So a lot of the research recommends consuming about 50 milligrams of vitamin C with the collagen. The way your body absorbs the collagen and the vitamin C, you don't necessarily have to take it with it if you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and get plenty of vitamin C in your diet. Which brings me to my other favorite food for rehab, pineapple. Pineapple has a natural anti-inflammatory called bromelain in it, so I literally eat pineapple like every day. So collagen is one of those that I think is very important, but people misuse it. So if you're going to take collagen, you need 15 grams. It needs to be an hour before a connective tissue health session.
Okay.
And you need adequate vitamin C in your diet.
Don't misuse your collagen.
Yes. That is really like turmeric is another one that people can try. It's an anti-inflammatory. Recommended dose, I believe, is 1,000 milligrams a day. It's one of those, take it for a couple of months, see if you find it effective. I was taking it for a while. I don't have any pain right now, so I stopped taking it.
Like crazy because he's old and beat up. Yeah.
Well, if you're old and beat, but turmeric or curcumin, it's like Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's another one, but I believe the recommended dose is about 1,000 milligrams a day, and that is milligrams, not grams. And that's really, and protein can potentially fall into the supplement category. However, it doesn't necessarily need to.
Yeah, that's your macros, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What about like glucosamine, Jordan, stuff like that?
So can't hurt, might help. I have been taking glucosamine forever. I take OsteoBioflex triple strength twice a day. You need 1,200 milligrams of chondroitin and 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine. If you don't have those numbers right, then it's kind of pointless because it's not the recommended dose.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It can't hurt, might help. What you want to avoid is taking something with the whole medicine cabinet in it. Like, target your nutrients. If you want to take glucosamine and chondroitin, take that, but don't take something that's got like everything else thrown in it.
Okay. What about D3?
So vitamin D,
which is a hormone instead of a vitamin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a vitamin that acts like a hormone. Generally, you should get it from the sun. I'm not getting a lot of sun today.
Not much.
Depending on where you live and how much time you spend in a swimsuit will determine how much vitamin D you need to supplement.
And also what your melanin looks like.
And how much, your skin color. It's not racist.
Not at all. The sun is. That's what the sun's doing, not me.
However, there's a lot of good research that individuals with dark skin may have low serum vitamin D, but the circulating vitamin D is different. So it's interesting because they have, like, people with darker skin typically have really high bone density. So you're like, what the heck? Your vitamin D is 20, but you've got bones that are rock solid. However, more musculoskeletal injuries. So vitamin D is used for a lot of different things, bone health, but it's also used to help prevent musculoskeletal injuries. So my recommendation is, if you want to experiment with vitamin D to see if that helps, if you're not able, obviously get your vitamin D level checked. That would be the first thing. And if your levels are low, let's say under 30, take a supplement with 2,000 IUs, not milligrams or grams.
Yeah,
2,000 IUs.
What does IU stand for?
International Unit.
It's just crazy that they'd use that.
I wish we would all be the same. Anyways, it is what it is. The IU community needs to have their voice. But yeah, so not D2 because D2 is a plant form. And I don't care if you're a vegetarian, you're an animal. Okay. And we absorb the animal form better because we are animals. So get the vitamin D3, take 2,000 IUs a day. Do I take vitamin D? No, because I got my levels checked and I'm like through the roof because I spend most of my summer in a swimsuit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, our ancestors walked around a freaking loincloth out in the sun all day, every day. Yeah. And so they need the D3. We need it. But if you're out in the sun, in a swimsuit, rocking it, then you don't need it. Mm-hmm. Like me, I'm a little white, a little too white. I need to get my D3 in. And I take it. I take some every night. Every night. I don't take it throughout the day. I just take it once a day. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. But like 2,000 IUs is one of those, it's a safe dose. It's not, now there are higher doses out there. I don't recommend that because it can be toxic.
You never know.
Yeah. So
get your stuff checked while you're doing it. Yeah. Make sure you follow with the physician when you're doing it. Or dietitian. Yeah. But get your levels checked because can you even get that drawn if you don't have a physician's order?
No.
So you're gonna have to get somebody to check it.
So if you can't, that's why I say 2,000 IUs if you can't get it checked, but you want to be safe.
I know there's a doctor. I was listening to him. He talks about nutrition, all that good stuff. It's Dr. Barry. Oh. He does a lot of keto stuff. Oh. But he was saying that if you need to get your blood draw, he's like, you can go there. There's certain like LabCorp. and there's certain ones you look at them and there's a doctor there,
Okay.
and they'll put the order in for you. It costs you a whole lot more money to get that done, but you can do a cash service.
Just do it once and
it's an option.
It's a few times you can do it to make sure you're getting your levels appropriate, and then you have a dietitian that you're working with that can check your levels and make sure they're right. So I've been reading about D3. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So we take plenty of it, especially during now. It helps you stay healthy.
Yes.
So, all right. So that was our supplemental area. What's
so
next?
how do you avoid weight gain when you're injured or during your injury?
Yeah.
Healing process.
Weigh yourself. Once a week. Once every 2 weeks.
Just water.
Just weigh yourself.
Yeah, water.
Just weigh yourself.
What time? Same time every day?
Yeah. It's funny. You don't wake up one morning and gain 50 pounds. You don't wake up one morning and gain 5. It takes what, a week maybe? You can gain 5 pounds in a week, maybe.
Sometimes
so weigh
it's
yourself.
water weight too,
Yeah, weigh yourself once a week, same time, same scale. That way, it's a lot easier to lose 5 pounds than it is to lose 50 pounds, right? Yeah. So stay on top of it. Put yourself on a budget. Okay, there's literally calculator.net. You got a calculator.net. And you can plug in, there's a calorie calculator. You plug in your age, your height, your weight, and it'll give you kind of an estimate of how many calories you need per day based on your activity level, and keep a budget. So start tracking how much calories that you're eating just to stay on top of it. If you don't know how many calories are in it, don't eat it. So that's like,
lose weight.
Well, I mean, like you don't.
I would, because I don't count crap.
Well, and like awareness, start learning about food. Like you wouldn't go to Best Buy and buy a stereo without looking at the price tag, right? Yeah. I mean, you're like, how much does this cost? Can I fit it in my budget? Food's the same way.
Yeah.
So don't self-medicate with beer and ice cream, okay? Except the Halo ice cream, that's just good. Like the high protein Halo ice cream.
Halo, I don't know.
Oh, it's good. It's like $4 a pint.
We don't drink much beer anymore. And then we definitely don't ever eat any ice cream.
Yeah, I'm hooked on the Halo ice cream. It's a pint.
Write that down, they got it at the heap?
Yeah. So a pint of it has about 300 calories, 20 grams of protein, and I'll have a pint of that for breakfast. Sugar is that thing?
For breakfast?
Yeah. Why not? It's got protein and calcium.
You're good. No, but what about sugar-wise? How much sugar?
I don't recall, but I mean, it's within the calorie. It's only 300 calories for a pint, 20 grams of protein.
Ain't too bad then. I wonder if they're using like a erythritol or something like that in there. I don't care about that either. I'm just wondering if
comes in cookies and cream, and it's really
good.
I got my dad hooked on it, so like get him the extra protein with his ice cream.
There you go. That's a good idea. You get the kids that instead
of
ice cream.
Avoiding soda, avoiding liquid sugar.
Yeah, liquid sugar is the worst thing. Even not just soda. I mean, just juice. Yeah. Juice is just as bad as damn Coca-Cola.
Eat it, don't drink it.
Yeah.
When it comes to fruit.
At least you get some fiber in there to help push it through. It's just make your body work a little bit.
Our kids get crazy on.
If you give them sugar, you like apple juice. I used to want to shoot them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't shoot them. I would to.
No. And then also, be active. The worst thing you can do for an injury is become a couch potato.
Sedentary.
Even if you just go for a walk, right? But get yourself, you got all these fancy gadgets that can track your steps. So I don't think that tracks your steps.
No, I do have one of those watches, but it's dead because I don't have the charger.
With all those chargers and
all these chargers now, one for my freaking Apple iWatch. Yes.
But yeah, so if you can't do a certain activity, then and even with knee though, maybe invest in a stationary bike. The bike sure does love the knee sure does love the bike. Yes.
It likes that
in every sort of way.
Yeah, I got a really sexy one too. So I held no.
What's those ones called? Is that the crazy one, the Peloton?
No, mine. I don't need to interact with anyone.
You do your own
but I got a Techno Gym, and it can actually measure one leg versus the other, and it has like the real shifters on it. Oh, so it's a sweet bike.
Oh man.
Yeah, I have it upstairs, and
we got a UBE, like the assault bikes. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that.
motorized.
So UBE is a upper body exercise.
Ergonomic.
Comes with an air conditioner.
Oh, dude, you know what it's from? It's from when we were living in Hatchell, Texas, and I remember I chewed the handle off it because 3.
Oh, literally.
I used to sit there on it like this on the bike, and that thing, it'll crush your spirit.
Yeah.
Because you're doing this and pedaling, and it just breaks you. It'll break you so bad. Yeah. But that's ours. So we spared no expense either when we got it for free from my mom when she was gonna throw it away.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
it's great.
And if you can learn to swim.
I know how to swim, but
yeah, swimming is good.
But I don't know how to swim like Hillary or you because.
But that's another so you may need to, and I'm grateful that I had other tools in my tool bag. But if you tear your ACL and you just ran, well, let's just put it this way: if you just run and you have healthy knees, have a backup.
Have a backup, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't like biking on the road.
Oh.
I know you got in my car once. Yeah, just
Twice.
I almost got hit a couple times whenever I was training for a triathlon.
Yeah.
Hillary never got hit. She just doesn't ride.
No, I'm not a rider.
She's not much of a rider.
That's not my thing.
I pray every time.
Yeah, well, I like going off trail. I'll take my wife on my own hands,
Yeah, I'll pass on that too.
Yeah, Hillary's got a scar right here from that.
Yeah.
Hillary does.
I've crashed mountain biking before.
It's so fun, but that's fun. It's like being a kid again.
Yeah.
On those. But being on the road, man, it's just so scary. I got clipped by a farmer. I'm on the back road, plenty of room, just clipped by a farmer going by me. They don't like. Out in San Marcos, I don't think they like too many cyclists.
Interesting.
The cyclists around here used to be pretty bad jerks because they'd ride in, all abreast to each other, going down Hunter Road without a shoulder. And you're stuck behind them going, how fast does a cyclist go? So
I go on some nice long rides, but I've so far.
Yeah, share the road.
Yeah, I was like,
share the road, right? But yeah, so
but I've been hit twice, and it's just one of those things where you gotta get back on your bike.
Okay. All right, so that was a good rabbit hole. I like that. It's fun.
Yeah.
How about what's the next one? I get the next question, right? So, how much protein do I need?
How much do you weigh in kilograms?
I weigh about 168 pounds.
168, that's
kilograms?
About 80 kilograms.
Yeah, about 2.2, somewhere.
Yeah, so generally for rehab, recovery, you're looking at maybe 1.5 to 1.8 grams per kilogram. Stay below 1 gram per pound. Okay. So you're so if you don't want to do it the metric system, you still have to do math. Actually, you don't really have to do math because it doesn't matter what your daily amount is. What is more important is your dose. Okay? So, you can figure out how much protein you need per day, and I'll just eat it all at once. No, it doesn't really work that way. So the most important thing to take away, and you don't have to do any math with this whatsoever, you're looking at 20 to 40 grams 3 to 4 times a day. So spacing out your protein in reasonable doses. So this morning for breakfast, I had my meals. I had salmon for breakfast, whatever. No. Don't judge.
So ice cream one day and salmon the next day.
Okay.
You're breaking your fast. It's fine.
Oh, I never. Yeah.
No, this is called break fast.
Oh yeah. So I had, because I ran and then I was coming here, so I wanted to have my bigger meal before I came here, especially since it was right after I ran, and I wanted to get super good nutrients right after my training. And so I had it was about a 7-ounce piece of salmon. I told him 6 ounces, but he made them a little big, and I'm not gonna,
That's good.
Yeah. So salmon, it's about 7 ounce, about 6 to 7 grams per ounce. So 6 times 7 is 4. So that's about 4. That's about 40 grams of protein at breakfast time. All right, whatever. So and then on my way home, I'll have a couple little protein bars, and that has so you spend at dinner time. So 30, roughly 20 to 40 grams, 3 to 4 times a day. A bigger person may have, closer to 40 grams 4 times a day.
Yeah, if you're trying to do bodybuilding, you need a whole lot more, right? Stuff like that.
But, so that's an interesting.
Or the carbs that you need.
How is bodybuilding different than rehabbing from an injury?
Well,
you're rehabbing.
You're talking about rehab.
But still, both of them involve
repair
and building muscle.
What about just an everyday normal person then? These guys, they're working out here. I got some guys working on the roof. These guys that are out there, they're busting their butt all day, every day.
I'm going to say that they potentially would need more.
They probably have McDonald's for lunch. That's a problem.
Well, decent amount of protein. I was watching, I don't know if any of you watch Fox Nation, but Mike Rowe has a series on Fox Nation called How America Works.
Yeah.
And he was showing electricians and tree arborists, tree loggers. Loggers is the right word. Anyways, these different
arborists, they're just logging, yes.
different fields, and it's amazing how these are athletes.
Oh God!
If you can lift a log, I mean,
all day.
Well, they use a machine for that, but still, to be able to work. Anyways,
it's being a farmer. I mean, they're out there all day, every day, and they're an endurance athlete. I remember chopping cotton
and the other aspect, if I can go back to, is we're getting older, and so as you age, you lose muscle, and that develops into sarcopenia, and so you have decreased amino acid sensitivity as you get older, which increases your need for protein. And that's the thing. Did I mention branched chain amino acids when you asked me about supplements? No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because you're going to get it through protein.
No BCAAs?
No.
Okay.
No, just going to get it through protein. So that's why high quality protein. I have cottage cheese at night. That's a good source of protein. Makes some people gassy, but hey, I'm single.
You can stay that way.
Cottage cheese, garlic, and asparagus. Boy, it smells good in my house. Yeah, sorry, I was joking. Anyway, so the take home with protein is look for about 20 to 40 grams, at least 3 to 4 feedings a day. Maybe you have 20 grams 5 times a day. It kind of, that's where your body weight comes into play. Kind of figure out, well, how much do I need per day? So you're 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound is how much you would need per day. Then divide that up between 3 to 5 feedings. And then it comes out to about 20 to 40 grams.
All right.
5 times a day.
That's why I never did the dietitian route. The Krebs cycle, I wanted to just die during. And then learning all the numbers is why do I do so much math?
And it's a little.
I don't mind math, but it's not fun math for me.
Yeah. It depends on what you like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said to me.
I was getting a reminder on my watch that I had a PT appointment tomorrow.
And you got what do you have on your watch here? I'm looking at. What is that?
Oh, in case I get gang raped and thrown on the side of the road, it says call my mom.
Just in case.
My blood type.
Yeah. Now if you just fall over and die, it's different. But
no, yeah, that too. But if you find me on the side of the road, just call mom. And it also says don't just exercise. So it's a little laugh along with that.
That's pretty good stuff.
So.
Nice,
okay.
Trish. That's good stuff. All right, Hillary's turn.
All right. Should I be avoiding carbs or during injury?
Love this question. So yes and no. So what do you want to avoid? Avoid junk, right? So candy, sweets, cookies, non-halo ice cream, comfort foods. So carbs.
We check that Halo ice cream. We'll
check it out.
No, get the cookies and cream pie. So carbs include fruits. Yes, you want fruit. Remember I mentioned pineapple? Pineapple and papaya both have enzymes that are anti-inflammatory. So yes, you want fruit. Starchy vegetables, beans, potatoes, those are all considered carbohydrates. Rice is a carbohydrate, but also is juice and soda and candy and cookies and desserts and potato chips. So those are the carbs that you probably want to limit, but you want to retain the good carbohydrates like rice and potatoes and fruits and vegetables because they have the nutrients that one, your muscles are made of glycogen. So if you're only giving yourself protein and you don't give yourself the adequate glycogen, your muscles are not going to be fully nourished and you're going to be at higher risk for injury. So nourishing the muscle definitely involves protein, but it also involves adequate carbohydrate as well. So if I restrict carb and I'm but I'm going to go on a long bike ride tomorrow because I know that's really good for my knee, and I'm going to eat lots of protein because I know that's good for my knee, but I don't give myself adequate carbohydrate to support my muscles with glycogen, I am putting myself at higher risk for injury. So that's why you need to include a decent amount of carb. Now, carb is the one that you can manipulate. It's a lot easier to overeat carb. Bread is one, right? There was a South Park episode that you guys can look up later. What happens if you eat too much bread? But a decent amount of carbs from pasta or rice or bread. But then that's where it's easy to eat too much. No one ever eats too much broccoli. Maybe they do.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
We went to where did you dip it in the?
In the cheese fondue.
Oh my God, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of our first dates even.
And with the melting pot, I've not been there.
That was tough, man. That was tough on me on the way back home trying to hold that in.
Okay, a little cheese.
Yeah. What about, you're talking about protein and carbs and needing glycogen in your muscles. What about glycogenesis?
So gluconeogenesis
That's
developing.
Okay. Trying to turn protein into sugars, what your body does.
So if you do not get
fat into sugars.
Right. So if you don't get adequate carbohydrate and you need carbohydrate to support an activity, your body will break down fat and to convert it into sugar.
Right.
It will also break down protein.
Do you think but protein is harder to break down than fat, right?
Not necessarily, because fat you have to go through beta oxidation, and that's quite an expensive process. So it just depends on what fuel is available. Your body will break down a little bit of both.
Okay.
And so it's important to have ample carbohydrate to properly train, gradually increase your training, because your body is always burning. Like right now, we're burning fat. Very nice. Okay, just enjoy that. We're burning fat right now.
My abs are just
because we are aerobic, right? So we're burning fat. The higher intensity your exercise, your body will want to rely on a different fuel source because it needs the fuel quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, it is important to get adequate protein, but it's also important to complement it with adequate carbohydrate, so that way you're not tearing down the protein. When we have someone that's dieting, that is trying to lose weight, we do increase the amount of protein that they are getting. That way, to help prevent the muscle protein breakdown that could occur with dieting.
Okay. Cool. Good answer. I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah.
Because I've heard like, the body won't break down the muscle before they will break down the fat because
it kind of occurs simultaneously. Your body's not
that
like,
I'm going to start burning. I don't even know how you measure that. That would be crazy trying to measure something like that anyway. Because where's the sugar coming from, right?
They do breath tests, but those aren't super accurate because it highly depends on what you ate.
Isn't there like a pee test too for seeing what your ketones are? Or something
yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
All right. So I've never done the keto strips. All right. So you did what do you call it?
Well, and then everyone is, and you have to individualize everything, right?
Yes, but not for the reasons that you think. So I will not write someone a diet. I refuse to. Because you'd be eating salmon and kale every day, and you probably wouldn't like it.
Quit.
Yeah. So you base it. What is more individualized is your lifestyle, right? So where you go grocery shopping, who else is in your family that you have to feed and cook for? What do you like? Where do you like to eat out at? So that's more individualized than I need a certain amount of carbs, fat, and protein a day, which is individualized. But I think what plays a higher role in what people actually eat is their lifestyle and what they like.
Individualized, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when
you can't, if you try to change it, they're not going to stick with it.
No, and it's such a waste of time.
It's a religion, like I said.
Yes.
I mean, it is this is who I am, this is me, and this is how I'm going to eat. This, I mean, unless you literally want to just change your entire lifestyle.
So if I have someone that's only eating twice a day, well, that's not going to work because we already mentioned that you want to get protein at least 3 times a day for adequate anabolic. So if you have too much protein at once, they call it non-anabolic disposal. So you're not utilizing the protein as protein. It'll actually convert to carbohydrate and be used as energy or stored as fat or fuel. So by spreading out the protein, you're actually able to use that dose for what protein has been called to do, develop hormones, repair muscle, develop enzymes, etc. And so if I have someone that's only eating twice a day, we will brainstorm how we can get a third meal that has protein in it, maybe take one meal and split it into 2. You know, that in that way we'll work together on coming up with a solution.
Okay.
But building it off of what they already do.
Speaking of that, should someone intermittent fast for the diet? That's one of the things you have on your diet and intermittent fasting. Yes. Keto. So it sounds like I already know what your answer is going to be.
Well, so I think we all intermittent fast.
You do it when you sleep.
Well, that's like breakfast.
That's why you break fast.
Yes. So we are all. If you're not intermittent fasting, then you're wrong. Then you're eating in the middle of the night.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Well, that could be explained you're waking.
Yeah,
well, you have nighttime shift, and you have your schedules kind of off, and
so you shouldn't eat. Yeah, so you shouldn't eat when you're sleeping. That would be a good way to help control waking.
Okay.
So
no sleepwalk eating.
No, and actually there's
it's not their fault.
It's called Prader-Willi's. There's an actual condition with children.
Children?
Yeah, it's called Prader-Willi syndrome, and it's something I learned like during my internship, literally over 20 years ago. But little kids still like they get up in the middle of the night and eat, and they are chubby because they eat too much. Wow. So they should intermittent fast.
I thought it was just from them eating all the junk food that their parents give them all the time.
Well, I think it's pretty rare, but it is a condition.
That's pretty cool, though.
But I would recommend
to blame it on that.
Yeah.
Like at least have a 10 to 12 hour window where you do eat. Okay. So that would be like a 12-hour window is from 8 to 8. So, or maybe a 10-hour window would be from 8 to 6. That would be a reasonable intermittent fasting window where you're able to get all of your nutrients. You can spread out your protein adequately.
Okay.
So then the question is like, well, what about going a whole day of fasting? And that leads me back to what I said in the beginning. Okay. I did not know I was going to run into a fire hydrant. I did not know I was going to tear my ACL. Had I been on a fast that day, I'm not saying like that protein that I had at lunchtime saved me, but we are, especially if you're an athlete, you are in a constant state of injury, recover. And nutrition plays such an incredible role along with proper training in that injury recover cycle. And so intermittent fasting is fine if you like maybe do a 10 to 12 hour window. But like going an entire day, it just from a performance standpoint, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I remember I was in one assignment and I had a physical therapist who was doing the fasting. He would ride his bike to work on a fasting day, like entire day. Yeah, and I'm like, tough. I do not want to be treated by you if you're fasting. I want to be treated by someone who is well nourished. Like if you're fasting and you're hungry, like go away. I know how I am when I'm hungry, and I don't want to be treated by me if I was hungry. So that's my opine.
There you go. No, it's perfect. That's what we want to know. Everybody's expert opinion. So it's good.
And as far as like keto goes, I don't care. You do whatever you want as long as you meet some baseline criteria. Making sure, especially so a legit keto diet is, I believe, 80% fat, maybe 10% protein, 10% carb, somewhere around that.
I've seen it. There's so many apps and stuff you can use for it.
So putting that into practice, like, I mean, if you don't like to do math, so most people that say they're doing keto aren't really doing keto. They're like just doing a low carb diet.
They're calling dirty keto.
Yeah, but
they're getting dirty with it.
Oh, they're tainting their keto. They're just using the name. And that's the thing is a lot of people like to say that I'm doing keto. I'm doing fasting. I'm just eating healthy. Oh, that's not sexy enough. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But if you are injured, just make sure. I mean, and the omega-3 fatty acids, especially that in fish, would be really complementary to a ketogenic diet. But you just want to make sure that you are getting at least 20 to 30 grams of protein 2 or 3 times a day, which may throw off your keto ratios. But what's more important, saying you're eating keto or actually healing from your injury?
That's a deep question.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Very good. Very good.
All right. So you have, what are your favorite recovery foods?
Oh,
I'm guessing salmon and kale.
And
Halo ice cream.
And pineapple.
Pineapple and papaya.
Yeah. So like let's look at I'll explain it from a nutrient standpoint. So kale in particular is rich in like vitamin C and a lot of your minerals, but it's also a really good source of nitric oxide. So a lot of people that are into the beets and to nitric oxide products, it can help you. So nitric oxide or nitrates, it's high in nitrates, which converts to nitric oxide. And so that can help with blood flow, which can help with healing. It can also help with, like when you warm up before a workout and you feel kind of sluggish the first 5 minutes, just warming up before a workout helps induce nitric oxide production. So you don't need a supplement for that. But
like a 10-minute bike, stationary bike. Yeah.
And that's why, like with recovery, especially from knee injury, like your first couple of minutes may feel kind of stiff. Just kind of get through that because you're developing nitric oxide that can help improve the blood flow, that can help warm up.
Well, I notice that whenever every time I do a run, if I go outside to do a run, it's just like, the first 2 minutes usually blows if I don't warm up. It's just,
yeah. I mean, warming up is just going slow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so kale, but salmon, I tell you, salmon's a great source of vitamin D. It's a great source of protein, of omega-3 fatty acids. So I literally eat salmon.
Is it salmon that pregnant people are supposed to eat? Which one?
Tuna.
No,
canned tuna.
Sushi.
And then what else what's the other thing?
Raw fish.
Are you worried about freaking mercury levels and stuff in salmon?
No.
What is it you're not supposed to eat? It's like swordfish and stuff you're not supposed to eat with.
Swordfish, it's the shark.
Anything that eats other animals that eat. All fish eat other fish pretty much, right? But
I forget what it's the type of fish that it's called.
It's a fish world out there.
Yeah, but those are they tend to be that swordfish.
Okay. So you don't have to worry too much of that. I mean, what about you want wild caught or you want?
I'm not. Honestly, I get that one at HEB that's 9 something a pound.
Okay. Whichever one it is, I want that one.
Yeah. Okay. That's the one I get. Okay. So I can be smarter about it, but ultimately, it's hard to say. Yeah.
Well, those guys are awesome too. Can you imagine just grabbing it?
Yeah.
They know.
No, and it's So.
And then you go back to that question about your lifestyle. Yeah. So the individual.
I love salmon. It's just I don't pay $9 a pound for meat. So.
Yeah. You're doing what works best for you.
Yeah.
With what you have.
And that's what I my splurge, I guess.
You're doing your life right.
Along with the Halo ice cream. But no, and
the salmon's a splurge.
Cottage cheese, I call that the poor man's Greek yogurt. But cottage cheese is a fantastic source of leucine. Leucine, we haven't mentioned that one yet.
What is leucine?
So leucine is one of the 3 branched chain amino acids, but leucine is very critical to muscle protein synthesis. So whenever you choose a protein source, you want to make sure that it's a high quality protein. So I love soy. I love tofu. Soy is actually a good complete protein. A lot of your vegetarian, vegan diets tend to be lower in the complete proteins and lower in leucine. But soy, fortunately, is on the higher end, which is good. But cottage cheese, it's cheap, and it's a really good source of whey protein, which is a really good source of leucine. But yeah, those are my power foods would be salmon, kale, and pineapple, papaya, and cottage cheese. Yeah.
What's it called in soy? Can't remember if they call
phytochemicals or
phytoestrogens.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Phytoestrogens. I heard there's a lot of that in soy.
It is, and they're good. It's good for bone health. It will not give you man boobs. Trust me, with the amount of soy that I've eaten, if it caused breast enlargement, it has not worked yet.
What about I'm just thinking about that because I know there was a research study where they measured the amount of phytoestrogens that wound up in chicken eggs after they fed on soy.
Okay.
And they were very proud of it, and they said, look at how much phytoestrogen mounts up in these eggs. And so I'm just thinking about, do you think that could be an issue, putting too much estrogen in women's ovaries that don't need extra estrogen? I've heard this as one of the arguments against soy. That's why I'm doing devil's advocate here, seeing what you think.
Well, when you go back and look at the amount of soy that you would need to eat, it would be a lot.
Okay. Well, so a vegan diet, they eat a lot, right?
It depends on that particular person. There have been some people that eat vegan diets that live on, beer and ice cream. That's,
vegan-esque. I guess not ice cream. It's got fake ice cream.
Okay.
You can't milk that cow. The cow walks by and squirts you with it.
But so it really depends on the individual. I hate to take an all or none approach to it.
That's why I'm wondering what you think of the estrogen.
So for example, lard is horrible. I would not recommend people chunk lard every day. But most of the people I wouldn't say most even, but if you just have lard every once in a while, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there are certain people, coconut oil is one of them, where they go on this binge and have coconut oil with all of their foods every single day. Well, coconut oil is very high in saturated fat. And so I've actually witnessed an individual who started eating coconut oil every single day, and that person's LDL cholesterol started going up. So we were maybe you shouldn't eat it every single day, and his levels normalized.
Yeah.
So, but the amount of soy that would need to be consumed to have a negative impact would be like, gallons of soy milk a day, which is just not, even a hardcore vegan wouldn't have that much soy.
Okay, I got you. That's what I wanted to hear your take. I like it.
Are your boobs getting bigger?
Not that kind. I don't have the
Man boobs?
what's it called? One of our friends had it, and he had to have them replaced at one point. Oh God, there's a really funny name for it too, but
I think it starts with an M.
Gynocleidomastia.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That doesn't start with an M, but yeah.
And they had to cut it open and pull it out.
Yeah.
Mastia's in there. All right. So.
I don't see a lot of that going on.
All right. So one of the recovery foods.
Yeah.
You were talking about minerals and stuff like that, and minerals. There's tons of them, even vitamin C and stuff in the liver.
Oh,
and
yes.
Organ meats. What do you think about organ meats?
It tends to be high in cholesterol, so I would just worry about that. Okay. For someone that doesn't. So again, big picture, right? If I have someone that's healthy all around, doesn't drink a lot of alcohol, doesn't smoke, has normal cholesterol, wants to eat liver every once in a while. My dad, when he goes to Luby's, he only goes to Luby's for liver and onions.
That's sad. It's kind of weird, right?
But I mean, I don't care. But my dad doesn't drink. He drinks every once in a while. He doesn't smoke. He's always exercising because he's always at my house fixing something. So I don't care. But but then on the flip side, so liver is very high in iron too. So if I have someone that has low iron, I would want them to eat liver occasionally to boost their iron stores. On the flip side, if someone has hemochromatosis, which is iron overload, if I have someone that has super high cholesterol or triglycerides, I may not recommend liver very often. But again, who eats liver all the time? I mean, I guess I eat salmon every day. So if I eat salmon every day, there's probably someone out there eating liver every day.
Well, we have some amazing cousins that have a freeze dryer that did a lot of liver for us.
Okay.
Yeah, they freeze dried liver for us, and we ground it up and we use it as a part of our seasoning.
Okay.
Just to get,
are you
how much
eating
cholesterol do you think is in there?
I mean, are you eating 6 ounces a day?
No, we're not shoving a tablespoon in.
We're just bringing it on.
We to get some minerals, and that's kind of our multivitamin.
But it's a freeze dryer, so you don't know how much is.
We don't even know how much is in there, but it's good. I
mean, I would get your iron levels checked every once in a while, and if you,
And one of the things we found is that liver actually, what's cool about it is it enhances the flavor. So it doesn't taste like liver. So if you have salt, if you have pepper, you make it we found that when you make sausage and they put liver, make blood sausage, the liver. Sometimes they put some liver in there. When you do that, you don't even notice the flavor of the liver. It literally makes it more savory.
Interesting. Probably better than just salting it.
You could try it on your salad.
Yeah, I would.
We'll give you some when you
Oh, good. Yeah. I get okra and liver.
Yeah, so we got a jar of okra over there for you too.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now I actually get my question finally.
Ooh.
What advice? No, not my question. It's yours, but it's my turn to ask a question. What advice do you have for someone with a torn ACL who is contemplating surgery? You've kind of said this already.
I did, but it bears repeating, I think. Wait.
6 months, you said. Try to do like a PT for 6 months.
Yeah, I would say PT.
Prehab it.
Yeah. From what I have read from people that have recovered.
This lady is crazy enough to read everything you can think of about it whenever it came to it.
Yes.
So yeah. Not crazy.
I would say, most people that have successfully recovered from a torn ACL, there are a few common things. One, it's about a year to where they're back to doing what they did before. A year. Okay.
And that kind of goes along with if you did have surgery, it's about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not try it without?
You go college try without getting cut on. Yeah.
Yes. Also, you will find, and I have found, when I start doing weight training, the first set hurts. Not excruciating, but get through and then after the second set feels better, the third set feels better, the fourth set feels better. So if you avoid strength training, that first one hurts, you got it. And I'm very careful about saying push through it, but give it a try. Lower the weight and push through it to see if it doesn't feel better, because it will feel uncomfortable as you're rehabbing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously people have had to live without ACL surgeries way before now. Yeah. And so how did they,
is there any research on like arthritic changes and stuff with that?
Yes. And I don't have it.
Obviously,
like,
doing surgery is pretty bad to your joint as well.
Well, there's a couple of things. And so, there are quite a few. There's actually a Facebook group called ACL Recovery Without Surgery or something like that.
I'm a member of that group now, yeah.
No, and there's they put some really good papers on there about that. But the one thing about arthritis you have to consider, one is weight gain. Okay? If you get older, have surgery or not, and gain weight, that's weight on your knees. So don't do that. Okay? The second thing is I will be doing knee rehab until I die. Okay? For two reasons. One is because I'm getting older and you lose muscle mass as we age. We've already discussed that. But I have, I want to continue to use my knees. So it's not like, oh my God, I have to do PT for the rest of my life. Yeah, I got to do PT. Just like you got to brush your teeth for the rest of your life. It's one of those things that is just healthy maintenance. So if you continue to do that, your likelihood of developing arthritis with or without surgery will greatly decline. So I think that was kind of...
That's good.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's good.
Yeah, well, and you said, not push through it, but push through it. What would be things that you don't want to push through?
And that would be a conversation you need to have with your physical therapist. I know, I know, like when I am doing single leg press on my left knee, which is my bad knee, when I do like the first 2 or 3, I'm like, okay, let's start off with a lighter weight. Let's reposition my foot and see, because I'm relearning, remember the proprioception? I'm relearning how to place my foot in a healthy position to where I can develop the most strength. Mm-hmm. But I have found, especially when I would tweak my knee and it was hurting, and I did go ahead and do some leg presses on a machine, so controlled environment, it felt better after the first couple of sets. And so I know some people are afraid of pain, but I would just kind of explore. You already tore your ACL, so it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Might as well experiment a little bit. Now with running, that is a open chain activity, right? So it's
parts of it
less stable, until you land. Yeah. So that's less stable, so you don't have the safety of the equipment.
Right.
Whereas the equipment, it's even if you do it at a lower weight, you've got that resistance, and so you can work through it and cause less damage.
Right. That's what like I saw on that Facebook page, somebody put on there some of their exercises they're doing. It's an open chain activity where they're doing weighted knee extension on a machine, right? And I don't know how long it's been for them and everything like that, but I know that's one of the first things I told my patients is like, we're not going to do that after ACL surgery. That's you don't do that because the last 30 degrees of that knee extended, this is the knee, and that knee extended, that last 30 degrees right in there's a lot of pressure on that ACL. And you got to be careful. And so if you don't have one, where's that going? Is it going to your bones? I'm not sure. But once you get super strong and it doesn't bother you, I guess you could do it. But that machine doesn't really have a functional capacity to me. All right? Because I'm not trying to drop kick somebody in the side of the head, with my extending my knee. You know what I mean? But that's why I do lunges and I do more closed chain things. And it causes some imbalance in quad versus hamstring. So that's one thing I wanted to see what y'all thoughts are, and anybody else that's listening. Like, what do you think about doing knee extensions on a knee without an ACL?
Well, and then the other thing, so I think people are misguided as to how quickly muscle develops. I think it's about 6 weeks to develop a pound of muscle. Muscle takes time to grow.
To
grow a muscle. Yeah. So think of it, it takes 9 months to grow an 8-pound baby.
Those darn sarcomeres.
Yeah. So I think a pound of muscle is 6 weeks for a pound of muscle. So a lot of people I've been training for 6 weeks and I don't notice anything. Well, you need to do more.
You gotta tear some more muscle.
But
do more.
Muscles grow or develop faster than tendons and ligaments. So, and just like Hillary said, even if you have surgery, you're looking at 6 months to a year rehab after that. So why not
normal, kind of?
at least try? But just appreciate. And this was hard for me being patient. Appreciate. Give it a year. It doesn't mean a year I can't do anything, but a year, like taking baby steps to get up to where I feel comfortable at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that can be like in someone else's mind, they could be like, well, why would I wait a year and try to rehab myself?
Yeah.
And then somehow during that time or after I tear my ACL and I could have had surgery and be done in a year.
So that year where you're rehabbing without surgery is not time lost. Because you're still like that leg.
Still prehab if you do have to do surgery.
It's still prehab, exactly.
And I was just saying that just for,
Yeah, like I could have had surgery a year ago and had this all done with that.
I mean, we've had to deal with that with like, limb salvage. Like I could have just amputated my leg, or like I could have already done this.
But you think about how much time you spent on the device where you're learning how to run without it.
Yeah, it's all about the journey. I mean, how many things in our life could we look back and say, "Man, wow, I wish I didn't open up that email, or I wish I didn't do this or that."
Run into that fire hydrant.
Yeah, run into I do. Like where it just came out of nowhere. But you know what?
Like,
it doesn't really. It doesn't matter, but it's that journey that I'm on. I tore my ACL for a reason, and clearly I needed to reset some things in my life. I needed to.
It happened, yeah. Exactly.
And the strength training that I've learned from that has been invaluable. So.
Absolutely. So we got about 5 minutes till 3.
Okay.
So let's look at a few more things here.
Let's look. I want you to touch on, because you talked a lot about nutrition and food, and I know this is very important to you, and I think important to a lot of people when they're training is the sport drinks.
Yeah.
And like the sugar amount and what needs to be in sport drinks.
Some people think they're being healthy just by drinking a Gatorade, and they aren't exercising.
A big deal.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
you gotta sweat it to get it. That's actually a part of the Gatorade commercial.
Go.
It's good.
They're good at marketing. Okay?
Well, but so what needs to be in a sports drink? Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people on one end of the spectrum are like, I want a 0 sugar, 0 calorie sports drink. Well, it's not really a sports drink.
Yeah, you need some salt and water.
Well, you need carbohydrate to absorb the sodium. So if you are really dehydrated, if you are deficient in electrolytes because you've either been pooping a lot or sweating a lot, then you need carbohydrate to help you absorb the sodium. Okay. Sports drinks, a lot of them use sugar. Sugar's cheap. Sugar's 10 cents a pound. Okay. So they can make a super cheap sports drink and sell it for like 3 times the amount that it costs them to make it. And people buy it. And then they can throw some other ingredient. They can throw some vitamin C in there and some B12 and some niacin and some BCAAs in there, which actually impairs the absorption of the nutrients that you do need. Okay. So I work for a company called Cera Products, and they use rice instead of sugar. Amazing concept. So they learned in Bangladesh, like many years ago, treating cholera, that by using an ORS with sugar, it helps rehydrate because you need the carbohydrate to absorb the sodium. But sugar has a lot of particles. It's high in osmolality, so it kind of made the diarrhea worse. When they started using rice instead of sugar, decreased the diarrhea by about 30%. And the reason for that is rice is a carbohydrate just like sugar, but it's a long chain carbohydrate instead of individual particles. So your body absorbs the carbohydrate and the sodium, so you're hydrated more efficiently. Cool. And so they only use rice, no artificial colors, no artificial sweeteners. They use stevia, which is a natural sweetener. And it just has sodium, chloride, and potassium. A lot of sports drinks actually limit or eliminate chloride altogether. Sweat is salt. Salt is sodium plus chloride. So a lot of people pay attention to the sodium, but they don't pay attention to the chloride. And so a sports drink can have absolutely no chloride in it, and you wouldn't know because we're only trained to look at the sodium. So it's important to have sodium and chloride because our sweat and diarrhea, the number one electrolyte lost is chloride.
So sodium chloride, what is that? Table salt? What is that?
Yeah.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
You can throw back a cube of table salt and a cube of sugar, you're good to go with some water?
No, don't do that because
I'm just asking.
Actually, people have died from confusing salt and sugar because salt can be toxic if you just eat it straight. You know, we do a good job at mixing up into a sports drink for you. So
well, we do a
just
good
it
job.
that way.
This go to Cera Sport to help us out.
Yeah.
I got you.
But it's made in the USA. It's a small business. So if you would like to support small businesses, they've been around since 1993, used in the military since 1999. And they got their start basically treating cholera in Bangladesh and India. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and
good.
we'll make sure that we put all your information down on the bottom of this video.
Good.
You got your Facebook and then the Cera Products.
Okay.
And LinkedIn.
Well, we're going to have a to be continued on this because we need to go over swimming. We got to go over eating disorders because you've dealt a lot with people with that.
Yeah.
And so we can definitely go over all that kind of stuff.
And the female, male, athlete triad.
Yeah. So we'll definitely invite you back over. We'll just go to your house.
Okay. And pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Party in the pool.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.